Okay, in the previous videos I showed you how to create a point layer and create a motion path along the way. In this case we did position of the car. And I also showed you how to parent your object to your motion path layer by clicking this arrow and selecting the layer that you want to parent it to. Also, we went onto the object layer itself and adjusted the rotation so the car rotates or continues in the right direction as it moves forward. Probably the next thing I'd want to do if I was happy with the motion here is I'd want to take this composite shot and bring it back into my editor timeline. So I'm going to go back to editor timeline here. So click on editor timeline. And looking at this, it looks like we're still at 10 seconds, so that's good. Nothing changed as far as the time goes. So we're okay there. And now what we're going to do is go back to media. So I'm going to click on the media tab here in the lower left. And we're going to grab the composite shot that we worked on and drag this back into our editor timeline. So now our composite shot is just like a single track that we can work with. So now that we have the composite shot on our editor timeline, I can take my rate stretch tool, for example, and I can drag this thing in. So we'll drag this closer to 9 seconds, and you can see things will start to speed up here as I grab the rate stretch tool. So it's going a little bit faster. And we could speed that up even more. Maybe I'll bring it down to 8 seconds. Let's go ahead and zoom in here on this so I can see this a little better. I will bring this back to 8 seconds here. Okay. And there, so we've got a little more speed going on there. Okay. And once you do that, now the last step will be to make a mask so when this thing's traveling under the underpass, you won't see it. Okay, so that's the thing I want to do. So I'm going to zoom in here. My middle mouse button here will zoom me in. Or you can, there's a zoom tool right here on the screen here that you can zoom in with. So I'm going to zoom in just a little bit more if I can. Then grab my hand tool right here and bring this down. And what I'm going to do is take this figure 8 racetrack that we used before, and I'm going to bring this out onto the timeline. Before I do that, though, I'm going to click on the video 1 track here, the composite shot. I'm going to right click on it and choose insert track. And that's going to give me another video track there. You can see I have video 2 now and video 1. Let me bring this down so you can see it. So now I'm going to take the original JPEG, the racetrack, and put it above my composite shot. And then the next thing I want to do is grab my cursor here and drag this out to be the same time as the other one. Now that this picture, this figure 8 racetrack JPEG is on the top, we're not going to see the car, right? However, what we're going to do is we're going to draw a mask around this area. So it'll preserve that. Oops, I didn't mean to move that. And we'll just see the car going under the underpass. So to do that, I'm going to go up here to the upper right hand of my screen. There's a little pen tool up here. It's called the Freehand Mask Edit Point. I'm going to grab that, and I'm just going to go ahead and create my mask right now by drawing a little border around this area. Oops. And you can also move your keyframes, so don't stress if it's not perfect. You can make adjustments later. So I'm going to draw a mask around this area. Let's keep going this way. Yeah, about there. Okay. And so what we're doing is we're just masking out this area, and then it'll get rid of the rest. And that's the idea here. just to mask out enough for the car to go under. It looks like appear to go underneath it. Okay, and so there we have our mask, and we should be able to see the car now coming through, and there it is. You can see the cars coming through, and then it goes underneath. Okay, but we need to drag this out longer again, so let me grab the cursor tool and make sure that this is out there the whole way, and you can see the car come out of there. Notice there it goes under, but then it goes under again, so we've got a problem there. So to address that, I'm going to go to the opacity. So let me bring this down, and we're going to address the opacity on that. And let's zoom out again while we're at it to, let's do 66% here. Okay, so here's how we're going to address that. If you notice in the beginning of the video, we can't see the car, and then it emerges. That's not good, right? So here's how we're going to address that. We're going to go to our controls over here on the left. Since we're in the editor timeline, we're going to go to controls here, and we're going to look for transformations again. And we're going to work on opacity here. Let's see if we can get to opacity. There, opacity is on the bottom there. Let's bring this up so we can see it better. Here we're going to keyframe the opacity, and we're going to bring it all the way down at the beginning so you don't see the mask. Keyframe it there, okay? And then as we move through, as this thing takes off, by the time it gets to here, we're going to up the mask to 100% opacity. So by the time the car gets around, there it goes under the underpass, okay? And then when it gets back to this part here, by the time it gets here, we want the opacity to be back down to 0. And that'll get rid of the mask, so you won't see it at the end. Okay? So by the time it gets back, it looks like it's not there, that mask. Okay? So basically, we brought the opacity down in the beginning of this mask so we could see the car. Then we brought it up here, so when it gets around here... Oh, notice here I forgot to add an additional keyframe over here. So to address that, I'm going to click this keyframe, hold down Control, and drag it over to the timeline somewhere out here, and bring that up to 100 like the other one. So all I did was click the keyframe, held down Control, and then duplicated it while I dragged it over. Okay, so you got to make that extra keyframe so it stays 100% right there. See how it stays 100%? And then as it comes out, then it fades down to 0. And so now this is what we get when we watch it. No mask there. Now the mask is at 100%. The car goes underneath. And now the mask goes down to 0%, and you can't see the mask anymore. So basically we use the trick of the transparency to opaque, and then from opacity to back down to transparency, and it gives the illusion of going underneath the overpass there. And that's all because of the magic of the mask that we created. Okay? And you can see there that it's added it in there. So that's basically how you do it.